Johnny Carson was the undisputed king of late-night television for 3 decades. As host of The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson from 1962 to 1992, he transformed the late-night format and became a cultural icon. Millions of Americans tuned in each night to see Carson's signature wit, charm, and legendary monologues. But behind the smiles and laughter, Carson ruled his stage with an iron hand, and if a guest crossed the line, they were never invited. Back, here are some of the most famous guests Johnny Carson banned from The Tonight Show, and the stories behind their shocking exits. Point 1. Joan Rivers. Perhaps the most infamous fallout of Carson's career was with comedian Joan Rivers. Rivers had been a frequent guest host and protege of Carson, who was instrumental in launching her career. However, in 1986, she accepted an offer to host her own late-night show on the newly formed Fox network, The Late Show starring Joan Rivers, without personally informing Carson first. He saw it as a betrayal. As a result, Carson cut all ties with Rivers and banned her from the show permanently, even after Carson left The Tonight Show in 1992. She was still blacklisted from appearing during Jay Leno's or Conan O'Brien's. 10 years a ban that lasted until 2014, when she was finally invited back posthumously in a tribute by Jimmy Fallon. 2. Shelley Winters. Actress Shelley Winters was known for being outspoken and brash. During a particularly tense appearance on The Tonight Show, Winters reportedly threw a drink at fellow guest Oliver Reed and clashed with Carson himself over political views. The incident created so much tension that Carson refused to have her back on the show again. While Carson was known for handling difficult personalities with grace, he didn't tolerate public disrespect, and Winters' behavior crossed the line. Point 3. Charles Grodin. Actor Charles Grodin was famous for his dry, deadpan sense of humor. While this worked well in films, it didn't translate smoothly on live television, especially on The Tonight Show. Grodin appeared confrontational and sarcastic during his interviews, sometimes mocking Carson and making the host visibly uncomfortable. Though some viewers found it funny, Carson didn't appreciate the awkwardness. Grodin was quietly dropped from the show's guest list and rarely returned in later years. 4. The Sex Pistols. In the late 1970s, punk rock was rising, and the Sex Pistols were at the forefront. Known for their anti-establishment attitude and unpredictable behavior, Carson's producers initially considered booking them. However, after multiple incidents involving profanity and violence during interviews on other networks, Carson made it clear the Sex Pistols were not welcome on his stage. Carson wanted entertainment, not chaos. The risk of a live meltdown was too high, and he banned them before they ever appeared. Point 5. Madonna. Brief ban. In the 1980s, Madonna was still on the rise as a controversial pop star. During an early appearance on The Tonight Show, she made several sexual jokes and innuendos that visibly annoyed Carson. While she was not permanently banned, Carson reportedly told producers to keep her off the booking list for a while, until things cooled down. She did return in later years, but Carson never forgot how unpredictable she could be. The bottom line: while Johnny Carson was beloved by audiences for his humor and cool demeanor, he was fiercely protective of The Tonight Show's reputation. He believed in professionalism, mutual respect, and maintaining a certain standard. If a guest made him feel uncomfortable, crossed a line, or betrayed his trust, the consequences were swift and often permanent. Carson's guest bans remind us that even in show business, loyalty and boundaries matter. And with Carson, once the curtain closed on you, it rarely ever opened again.